What is going on, everyone? My name is Northy, and today I have myself the round 20 team coach preview. Last week, great stuff. Managed to get a prize card, and today I really think we have what it takes to go 2 weeks in a row. I really do. It still is up to a bit of luck, but I'm really hopeful that we'll manage to turn out something good here. First off, I just want to mention, thank you guys so much for the support as of late on the videos. The last Team Coach album update, like I kind of expected, but was also a bit nervous with. It did really well, and it's still doing really well, so thank you guys so much for the support on that one. All the Team Coach stuff leading up to Northy's month of Team Coach. It's a really busy time at the moment for myself, and it's got me really excited for what we could potentially do. Got some really exciting announcements coming up for it as well. Oh man, it's going to be such a good month. But nonetheless, let's go into round 20. We're going to look at the Star Powers team to start the week off. This is what we've got now. Supreme Sicily is a big risk here. For some people, maybe not, but knowing that Steele has had a few good games, Neil could always pop off, same with Kelly. Merritt at times has had really good games. There's a whole bunch of players here who could do really well. I know Rory Laird is also coming back too, so that could be a player we may want to pick up. But Sicily, I feel like is the best option this week because he is up against a Saints team that has been a bit under the pump, and that's why I've also got Mitch Lewis in. I'm hoping that Mitch Lewis will be able to take the most from a St Kilda side that is kind of struggling in terms of finding good form. Although they've come off some wins, I'm not sure just how meaningful those wins are to them, or whether the Saints have what it takes to switch it around and perform to the best of their ability like they were at the start of the season. But it'll be interesting to see. I hope that Sicily will do his thing. Mitch Lewis will kick a bag, and we get some good work out from those two. Bont stays in. There's no reason for me to take him out, honestly, this week. They're up against GWS. It is at Mars Stadium, and I'm not sure how good of a ground Mars Stadium is in terms of getting like possessions and getting involved with the ball. Honestly, it could come down to the weather on the day as to whether Bont really gets to play the way he wants to, but I don't see a reason why I take him out for the moment. I'm hopeful that he will do big things for me. My young gun this week is Chad Warner, and my reasoning behind it is I've seen some teams get really high possessions and really high points against Essendon so far this year, so I'm hoping that Chad Warner can pull it off. I'm going to double check to make sure he is playing as well, because I know there's a lot of people here, like Nick Martin was one that I just really wanted to pick, and there's a chance that he will eventually just play better than Warner in this one as well off the wing, but he's been having some meh games. Haven't seen 100 from him in a little bit, and I know Chad at the best of times can absolutely smash it. You see, he's averaging 100 for the season, but maybe we can see it from him in this one. But Sam Doherty also stays in. No point in me changing that. Only one that maybe I could think of is Libba and Gorn. These three are kind of leading the race right now for this entire category, the epic category. So I'm sticking with Doherty though, but because he's just purely been good for me all season. We go over to Ultra though, and this is what we're looking like. You can see some changes. Sicily is now a double points player, so a no-brainer in my opinion. So happy I've got him. Steele in there as well. I could have picked him, but again, Sicily, I felt like he just had to be in there. We got Took, McRae, Kelly, Oliver, Short. We got a lot of Supreme double points players, but the one I'm most excited for is this Bont double points player because it feels like the safest one I've got at the moment. Just having those two as double points players at the moment gives me a lot of excitement for this Star Powers weekend. I'm really hopeful those two will be able to carry myself over the line. However, my other double points player is Steele Sidebottom. My hope was that Tom Green was back this week because I have his double points, but unfortunately he isn't, so Steele Sidebottom gets the call up. Averaging the most out of this category for the season, comes off 96 last weekend up against Carlton, so it could be a very interesting game for him. They may need to see him step up again to see them get over the line, but I am not mad at having him in there. I think at the best of times he can pick up his own weight, so I'm happy with that. Then the other ones, I don't actually have the Mitch Lewis silver card, so I can't chuck him in the Ultra Star Powers lineup, but I do have Charlie Cameron, so we'll put him in there. I think they're up against Gold Coast for the Q Clash, so that's why maybe I can see Cameron getting a bit more involved. Honestly, Cameron has been kind of disappointing for me this season. He kicks goals every now and then, but not much on the ball. Few marks. It's really hard for me to enjoy watching him when he's on my team. But young guns, again, sticking with Chad Warner. He's my big pick this week. Obviously, players like Zach Butters can have big games. Cozzy's been finding himself on the ball a bit more. Interesting things here and there to look out for. But last week, did pretty well. Just missed out on silver, you can see here with rank 20, with 586 points, but I'm hoping that maybe double points will be what gets me it this week. Let's hope, that's all we can do. Go to top team though, and this is what we are looking at. Here is my top 4. I feel like this is a combination of everything over the last couple of weeks coming together to make the best choice. Bont after last week and Rowan Marshall after last week both get to stay. Rowan Marshall, I thought about changing, but Hawthorn actually don't have Ned Reeves, who, from what I can tell, is their main ruckman. Lloyd Meek is going to be their ruckman this week, coming in. That's what it's listed as on the AFL website. So I think Rowan Marshall will be able to have his way, realistically, with Lloyd Meek. Bontempelli is Bontempelli, and I'm hopeful that this will be a good choice as well. I don't know if he'll win it. Didn't win it last week, but he was very good, and I'm hopeful that he'll have another good game. Gawn, I've made the switch. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. My hope is that Goulden doesn't pull out a ridiculous game now, because I've taken him out. That is my luck, though. That is my luck. Gawn is going to have a good game, but Goulden's going to have the game of the round, I guarantee it. And then Sicily, he's been around a lot so far in the game modes. He's been in every single one. I think he is in every single one. So Sicily, there you are again, mate. 121 last week. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, mate. Hopefully this group of players is going to see me get a prize card, because last week it was Marshall and Bont doing really well, and then Goulden and I think it was Dawson doing quite poor for me. So set us up well, but didn't quite make it. 30 points off getting a prize card. So we're going to just ignore last week. This next week, looking good, boys. We've got top 18 known now. Here is what we're looking at. Few changes here and there. Sicily is in. I can't remember who I took him out for, but Sinclair is also back in. So hopefully he'll be able to have himself a good game again. Although he did play against North Melbourne last week, put off 112 points, which is actually quite surprising. Daniel, I believe, is out. I'm not really sure why exactly, but I am just going to switch things up, because Daniel can occasionally have, I guess it's like Stewart as well, can occasionally have the game where he isn't as involved. But I know Stewart, he's very important to the Cats backline, and Caleb Daniel almost plays like an all-rounder. He's not necessarily a midfielder, but can play like it a lot of the time. So it's honestly just a toss-up between the two most of the times. Daniel is up against GWS and Mars Stadium, and Tom Stewart is up against Rio, I believe, at GMHBA. So hopefully the GMHBA luck and the fact that he is just so used to playing there will get him over the line. There's all the other obvious ones in the back line as well, but I don't need to go over that because you guys know plenty about them. We're going to the midfield though. Still staying in. I don't see a reason why not. 133 points. Hey, that's pretty good, man. Bonds is also staying in. Rosie I'm keeping in as well, up against Adelaide, so hopefully he can smash out that game. Taranto stays in too. The only main midfield change is Josh Dunkley. Josh Dunkley is the change in. Hopefully he can have himself a good game up against the Gold Coast. When he is on, he is all over it. Grabbing the ball, marks, tackles. You can see that's a pretty complete game. And that's not even one of his best performances of the year. That's below average. Hopefully we can see something similar like that from Dunkley again, because he's definitely capable of doing so. So I'm hopeful that will come in handy. Going to the forward line though, Mitch Lewis is the change in. I actually can't remember who I've switched him out for. If you've watched last week's video, you know exactly who I switched him out for, but at this very moment, I can't remember. But he is pretty much the only change. It'll be Curnow, that's right. Curnow was in last week, but we've taken him out because Curnow up against Collingwood, and he's the only target. So you already know Collingwood are going to be hard focused on Curnow. So I don't know how effective he is, unless he is literally just that good and has himself another really good game. But Curnow is very open to having some poor games every now and then. 10 goals was great last week, but 146 is not going to happen very often, and I think right now, with the way some teams are set up, like Maxi Gawn, getting all the ruck exposure, getting disposals the way he does, he is going to be very good and very consistent in the team. Same with Lukey Jackson at the moment. I think while Sean Darcy is out, I think he's out for the season. Please comment if I'm wrong, but I think he's out for the season. And Shea Bolton is staying in there. He stays on ball. Even though he's probably not the most effective on-baller, he gets himself enough points for me to keep him in there regularly. So, Martin, hopefully we can get a good game from you. And Goulden, you need to do better than last week. 89, especially when you were in my top 4. I need you to change, boy. I need you to change. This was our winning one last week. Top 18 gave us rank 3. So it's hard to make changes when you're succeeding, but I am hopeful that we'll be able to see another good positioning somewhere in the top 20, please. I don't even mind if it's not in the podium. I just want to be in the top 20 so I can get another prize card. Please, please, please. That's all I can hope for. But that is that for all of the games this week. Let's have a look at the tips. Here are the tips for the week. We'll start off with tonight's game, which is Collingwood-Carlton. Oh man, this is a lot tougher now. I'm going to say Collingwood. I don't think many people will be tipping against Collingwood. However, I can see how people could maybe see Carlton winning it because they have been on a roll as of late, especially if they win this one. They beat Port Adelaide by a pretty good margin. So if they can beat Collingwood, then they are set up for a really good finals campaign. They have salvaged their season somehow. I want to go to the showdown now. Power versus Adelaide. Adelaide have been somewhat disappointing as of late. Losing to GWS at Adelaide Oval was a shock to me. I'm not sure how shocked others were, but definitely shocked me. I say Power are going to win this one. I think they were good enough against Collingwood to convince me of taking this one against Adelaide. I'm going to go Essendon Sydney. I've seen a lot of people tip Sydney as of late, but I'm going to say Essendon take this one just for their sake, honestly. I think they need to see a win in this one, although it could go either way, I guess. Geelong versus Freo at Geelong. Don't think there's much else that needs to be explained. Geelong at Geelong are just tough to beat. Smacked Essendon. Smacked North, which isn't really too much of a shock, but Essendon, that was kind of a shock. Geelong should be able to take this. Gold Coast versus Brisbane. The Q clash. This is going to be good fun to watch as well. So many clashes. It's good to see. I'm going to say Brisbane take this one. I think at their best, Brisbane just rolls by Gold Coast, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hawthorn versus Sydney. Again, another one where people have really been interested in how Hawthorn do and think they'll even take this one comfortably. I remember when people at the start of the season were saying they were tanking. They were tanking and they couldn't see them winning any games at all. And here they are, and they're probably very close to favourites against St Kilda somehow, but we'll see. I'm going to stick with St Kilda. I think that they can pull it off if they play their best footy though. They have not at all been playing their best footy by any stretch of the imagination. And considering how I was reacting last week when they played North, you'd be surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, how are you tipping St Kilda after that? But realistically, their best footy can beat a lot of teams. Richmond v Melbourne. This one will be an interesting one for sure. If it's at the MCG, you can't tip out Richmond. But I'm going to say Melbourne. They've been super clutch as of late. Can't really tip against them. Richmond's win last week, though, was super cool. West Coast versus North. This is a game I think a lot of people are excited about for me. West Coast versus North. I have to back my team in this week. I have to. I have no choice. But man, if I were to tell you I am not scared, I'd be lying. Okay, we're going to get past that very quickly. I will worry about that when the game comes around. Bulldogs versus Giants, however, I'm going to tip Bulldogs. I think it'll be a safe win for the Dogs. I'm not sure how it'll go though. GWS have been impressive, so we'll see how that turns out. But that is my round 20 tips. English is not my thing. Nonetheless, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like this, be sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Become a member if you enjoy what you see. And thank you guys again, I have to say it again, for all the support on the channel as of late. Been super cool. I think we're very close, if not already at 1,750, which is great. 250 more and we hit the big 2K. So thank you guys so much again. Really appreciate you all, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.